Hey guys, welcome back, it's Mr. Vince, and welcome to a brand new series called the Mr. Develop series. It is basically a merged version of the Roblox scripting series, and please don't mind the lag because I tried my best to find a way to properly record this, and so it will be pretty laggy. So yeah. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make yourself immortal with a force field equipped. However, if you fall off the map, you will still die because, well, you will still die by falling into the void. Anyways, this is going to be a long process, but it is definitely possible. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Firstly, we need to find a way to damage players. Now, I made a video on how to make a kill brick, but this video is going to be a little bit more simplified for that. So what I'm going to do is insert a part. If you guys don't know how to insert stuff, you can go over here. You can hover over any instance. So as you can see, I'm hovering over workspace. Click on the plus icon and then you'll be brought in with a drop-down menu. Here you can search up anything you want. Alternatively, you can just go up here and click on part. That works as well. Okay, with that said though, what you need to do is to configure the part as you wish. Please feel free to make it anything you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do pretty much the same thing as I did last time. So I'm gonna go ahead and configure the part like this, and that should work. Also, please make sure that you have anchor turned on. Can't collide is fine. I'll turn it off for the video though. And then I'm gonna go ahead and name this kill brick. Next, we need to insert a script. Inside of the script, you need to type in the following code. First, we need to type in script.parent.touched :connect function hit. Now, the reason I have typed this in is because hit is going to be the base part that has touched the kill brick. So in order for us to not run into any errors, we need to do this if statement. If not hit, or not hit.parent, then return end. Return basically just stops this code from running alongside the next lines of code that I will type in. Okay, so in here, what we need to do is to type in if hit.parent find first child, which is a humanoid. The reason I did this is because some of you guys might have named your humanoids a little bit differently. So find first child, which is A, is definitely recommended. But you can also do find first child, which works too. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here. If hit.parent find first child, which is a humanoid, dot health is greater than 0, then we're gonna damage the humanoid. Now the reason I put greater than 0 is because 0 is usually when the humanoid dies. So that's why I typed this in. So if their health is greater than 0, we're going to damage them like this. You can put any number here if you like, but if you do 0, nothing happens. Okay, with that said though, there is no debouncing. So that means the player will take damage if they move around inside of the part. Now, we need to make sure it works, so obviously we're going to have to playtest the game, and if everything has been typed in correctly, you can see that I am now taking damage from the kill brick, and I can die. So, yes, it works. Now as you can see, there are no errors, so we're good. Okay, with that said, next I'm going to show you guys how to insert a force field into your character. This is an easy step, but it does take a bit of code to write. Firstly, over here, I'm going to make sure that the duration for the force field as part of the spawn location is set to 0. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and insert a screen GUI, and then I'm going to insert a text button. You can find those in the object drop-down if you click on the plus button, or Control-I on your keyboard. Over here, I'm going to go ahead and customize the button. You don't have to, but it's your choice. So I'm going to go ahead and customize it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and just mess around with the button itself. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and just insert a script. So I'm going to go ahead and call this button spawn ForceField. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and insert a script. So yeah, the reason I have inserted a regular script instead of a local script is because local scripts are usually ran through the client. What we need to do is to get the player. So in order to get the player through a regular script, we actually have to do this. You don't have to, but this is a really good way to get a player. It's super bizarre, but it does work. It's something like this. If you put dot and then you type in something like workspace and you see this, remove that, and this should get the player. Next, what we need to do is to type in character. You can also get the player's character through this method. Or player.character added :wait. This will work. Next, what we need to do is to get the mouse button one-click event. Fortunately, at least for now, mouse button one-click events do work through server scripts. So what you can do is type in script.parent.mouse button one-click :connect function. Now here comes the fun part. We are going to add in the ability to spawn in a force field. So in order for that to work, what we need to do is firstly check if the character cannot find a force field inside of the character. So we're going to do if not character :find first child, which is a parentheses inside. We'll just type in force field like this. And please make sure you capitalize this F. If you don't, it won't work. Then we're going to do instance.new. Inside we're going to put force field like that, .parent equals character. Here's the code for those wondering. Now I'm going to go ahead and run the game itself. And as you can see, if I go ahead and click on spawn force field, I got myself a force field. Now the only problem is I can still take damage. So you might be like, how can you make yourself immortal with a force field, Mr. Vince? Well, it's actually surprisingly simple. So what you need to do is to declare humanoid as a variable, like this. And yes, this does work, but also make sure you use wait for child, because you might run into an error that might say humanoid is not a valid member of character. So please make sure you type it like this if you don't want to run into any errors. After that, you need to make a new set of lines and type in humanoid :get property changed signal parentheses health connect function. Now, since we're making our character immortal, we are going to restore their health entirely. So what we need to do is to put if character find first child, which is a force field, and for the sake of this video, I'm also going to include and humanoid.health is greater than 0. So we're only do this if the player is alive. Then we're going to do humanoid.health is equal to humanoid.maxHealth. Max health is a property of humanoid that basically determines the maximum amount of health you would have. And all humanoids by default will have 100. So there you go. That is pretty much all you had to do. And now I'm going to go ahead and run this game. And if I go ahead and spawn in a force field, and then I just walk over to the kill brick, as you can see, my health bar is not showing, which means the technique worked. And there are no errors either. So here is the set of code I've typed in, for those wondering. It's very, very convenient, trust me. Now you might be like, how can you get rid of the force field you would have? Well, there are a couple ways to do this, but this one is pretty easy. I'm actually going to use the button way because I think a lot of you would probably do the same thing. So what we need to do is to type in script.parent.text equals remove force field. Like that. Then we can do either else or else if. For this video, I'm going to do else because a lot of you probably do the same thing. Then what we need to do is to type in character, find first child, which is a force field, colon, destroy. Like this. This will get rid of the force field that we would have. Then we would just type in script.parent.text equals spawn force field. This is what you should type in, by the way. Now, since this is handled through the server, obviously there might be some server lag that will prevent this from working. Just give it some time and then it should work. Okay, now that we have typed that in, I'm going to go ahead and run the game again. And if I go ahead and click on this button, you can see it's now called remove force field. And then I got my force field. If I click on this, the force field would be removed. That means I could do this as many times as I want, which is kind of cool. As you can see, I got my force field, and now it's gone. As you can see, I can safely take damage like that. But if I go ahead and click on this, and I run over the kill brick, you can see that I'm not taking damage until I remove this. Now, because we would actually get our full health back with a force field, if I go ahead and click on this, and I touch the kill brick, you can see that I got all my health back. I also got all my health back when my health started to regenerate, as you can see. So the question is, how can you make it so when you have a force field, you would immediately get your health back? It's actually still surprisingly simple. All you have to do is just type in humanoid.health equals humanoid.max health. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And you can see that player will be defined like this. So as long as you see dot workspace, just remove that and then it should look something like this. Local characters, something like this. This will work. Humanoid, you just need to wait for child so that you don't get an error for trying to get the humanoid. This right here actually works on the server, so it's probably best to do that. You can also do mouse button 1 down or 2 down if you want, but mouse button 1 click is recommended. It also works on mobile and console. Over here we got an if statement here and another if statement down here, as you can see. Now, here is another way as to how you can change up the player's force field. So with this, it actually works, but what if I told you there was another way? This is a more complex way, but you don't have to do this. It is, however, recommended. I'm going to go ahead and add in character.childadded colon connect function, and then I'm just going to put an item for this video. We need to determine if the item is a force field. So for that to work, we need to do if item is a force field, then I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and that, like this. Boom. And then I'm going to make another set of code that determines if the force field is removed from the character. Meaning we have to type in character.childRemoved. And just like child added, we just need to detect if the item was a force field. If it was a force field, then change the text to spawn force field, like that. And this is what the code would look like if you went through this way, instead of the button way. So if I go ahead and spawn inside, and I click on spawn force field, as you can see, it will still change to remove force field, and I got my force field back. If I go ahead and click on remove force field, this button will be changed to spawn force field, and the force field would be removed. Meaning, it works. Now, if I go ahead and take a lot of damage, and I click on this, I'll immediately get my health back, as you can see. So that's actually really cool, and you can see that, yeah, it works as intended. Pretty cool, am I right? Well, there you have it, my friends. That is how you can become immortal with a force field. It's actually not too hard to understand this process if you have just watched the video. But for the most part, if you type all this in, or like some sort of it, then it should work. Basically, you just have to make sure that the character has a force field. If you guys don't know what that is, it's this thing right here. And you will need it. It's going to be really important. And by the way, you can hide it if you want, so that's kind of cool. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to let me know down in the comments. I am planning to make an episode per week, maybe 2 or more. So please stay tuned for another episode of the Mr. Develop series. But with that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. My name is Mr. Vince, and sorry about the lag, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day today.